Hi guys, and welcome to another Train Sim 2021 video. Today we are on the West Coast Main Line over Shap in a Class 70. I'm never one to pass up the chance to drive the Class 70 because I absolutely love it. Cough, cough, AP enhancement pack necessary, but I still do really enjoy driving it. I've always thought of it as one of DTG's better models, so it's been good. This one, funnily enough, we're on a rail tour that's obviously, don't know if it's failed or whatever. We'll read the blurb as we get going anyway. Morning driver, we're currently on the approach to Preston on board 1 Zulu 66, the 0454 Yorkshire Dalesman. There we go. It's the Yorkshire Dalesman tour. You'll be taking this leg as far as Carnforth with 70003 and 66154 at the helm. Right, okay. So we have the road. Let's get set up in this. Get some lights on, and then we should be good enough to go. Because this got 8 notches. Yeah. So let's just change my controller once we've taken our brake off to 8 notches. And then we can go through them properly. So yeah, the Class 70, the Fugly. I'm sure you guys can work out what that stands for. Is it really though? Or is it just a very nice, functional, industrial looking design? I think the latter. I don't know what it is about them that I really like. I don't know if it's because they haven't really, even though they are still in service in the UK, but a lot of them are waiting. I think it's bogie overhauls a lot of them need, and the sort of freight market isn't just there for them. Drivers that I've spoken to that have driven them, I know one Colas driver I've spoken to quite likes driving them, but they don't have a hot plate. But one guy I know that works for Freightliner hates driving them. So it's sort of, I think it's really just one of those things. I quite like the fact that it's got a very different cab from most UK stock. And it looks like it must be quite a nice environment to be in. For me. Are we stopping at Preston? No, we're a go via at Preston. So we're straight run up to Carnforth, are we? Yeah. Was that a Northern 180? Cool to see that in a scenario. Now Preston. Oh, Preston's top of my list at the moment. Klaus has just spent all of yesterday getting over 1,500 reference photos. There was about 9 gigs worth for some work to do at Preston, so I'm quite excited to see where that goes. And that'll be missing link stuff, so pretty pumped about that. Liking the AI on this. So this is the 1066 Swindon-Leeds, available over on AlanThompsonSim.com. It's by Robbo, I think, if I remember rightly. I did write it down. Yep, by Robbo13, who's done a couple of scenarios. I think I did one of his scenarios on stream a couple of weeks ago. Seems pretty decent, so I'm quite impressed with this. Looking forward to driving it. West Coast Main Line over Shap is always one of my favourite sort of legacy routes. For Train Simulator. Any of the Keith Ross stuff I've always got a little bit of a soft spot for. And seeing the what's my top speed? 75. Seeing the wonderful upgrades he'd done on the routes on YouTube recently was just visually stunning for me. It's a real shame that he's had to take those videos down, and I think he's left a comment saying that he was unable to release them or something. So I hope there is a way around that at some point. I really, really do, because it did look fantastic. Right, you ready for the funniest bit about the 70? I think we've got a whistleboard coming up soon, haven't we, out of here? It's just hilarious. And I think this is also the first time I've driven a 70 that's been doing a passenger run. I'm trying to rack my brain a bit here. I'm not sure. But it does look cool. Really like to see it with some decent AP physics, some better AP sounds and run sounds. I think this has a run sound mod on it, if I remember rightly. It's not publicly available. It was a test. But yeah, seeing it sort of AP'd would be lovely, especially with sort of the Norwich, the Ipswich Peterborough route and all of that stuff. And we were talking the other day, like with the Great Eastern Main Line and like all of the way you could do it, and the North London line stuff that's coming as well. There is, in theory, you could do like a drift service all the way round and up. That would be some undertaking, that would. I don't know where the drivers like swap over or anything on that route, so if you guys know, please let me know in the comments. I'm sure it's probably different services have different crew changes. But if anybody does know them, I'd be interested to know. The only thing I will say about scenarios like this is scenarios done in like anything but summer on some older routes, and even some newer routes, just look pants because the train sim just can't do it properly with the trees looking like that. Just as much as sometimes it can be a bit atmospheric with the right weather and stuff, other times it just looks a bit pony. So it's always the danger with sort of a spring or an autumn or a winter scenario. I think spring's alright, or is it autumn that's alright and spring's not? I think spring not, autumn good. Can't remember off the top of my head. Anyway, we haven't had a whistleboard yet, so I'm going to do it anyway. It's like a Fisher-Price xylophone. My first electronic instrument. So I'm guessing, with this being a 66 and a 70, that this would have had, this set of coaches would have somewhere had a generator set on it. I don't know if any of those were modelled in the Mark 1 pack, were they? I know they did, there are some genset ones that kick about in the, there's a Mark 2 one and a Mark 1 set that have got ECS generators. I suppose if it's summer, they might not have needed it. But we've already discussed this isn't summer, so I don't know. If you guys know, again, let me know. Yeah, but 70s themselves, clever things. Clever things. The way it's is it a hood unit, the Yanks call them? Easy access for maintenance, that sort of thing. A modern 58. And I I'd probably say is about as successful as the 58, if I'm honest. There's a lot, as it Leeds Midland Road, there's like tons of these kicking about. And I think it was waiting for bogies or wheel set changes or something as well. I think there's a good few reasons why they're not the most popular things. It's sad because I think there's some, is there a variant of this in, is it Egypt? I've got a 70. Was it the demonstrator or something? Or one was sent over as a demonstrator or something like that. Ah, horn! Gotta love it. A bit of sky dome flickering going on here. Usual TS irritant. So yeah, how have you guys, also what I was going to ask you guys is, how have you been finding TS 2021? Not necessarily the DLCs, I'm not talking about the route that is the West Coast Mainline South. I am talking about how have you found its stability. I have noticed a drastic reduction in out-of-memory errors. Now I would like to know if you guys are getting the same. Lots of people I've seen have been able to run scenarios they never were able to run before. That's also quite encouraging for me. And by far, I would say this core update that we've had for TS 2021 has been one of the most stable I've ever seen. I've not noticed any great big glaring issues. Pete's not noticed any glaring issues in the editor. Frame rates have been improved in certain places. The way it's handling the data and the memory and the loading in of things seems improved. So for me, bar the West Coast Mainline South utter farce, the DTG have done incredibly well with this. It's given us a stable platform again, which is something and I say stable, I'm talking stable in train sim terms here, okay? I'm not saying they've fixed everything and everybody's out-of-memory errors are going to be fixed. That is not what they are. Out-of-memory errors can be caused by a multitude of things. Hundreds of thousands, possibly millions of variants of why they happen. I don't know. It can be anything from a faulty bit of DLC that's been installed incorrectly. It could be down to a conflict with two things you've got installed. It could be anything. It could be a hardware issue. It could be hardware with sound. That could be graphics. That could be a shader. That could be anything. So when it says out of memory issue, it's not out of memory most of the time. It's not running out of your RAM, basically. But it's just a new name for the temp dump, as we used to call it. It used to be known as. So it's not always the core engine's fault. Sometimes it's people that have installed things wrong. Sometimes it's developers that have installed things in a shoddy way, that have made their installer install things in a shoddy way, or third parties that have created patches that conflict with other things that haven't been tested fully with the millions of DLC that's out there. That's not saying that third-party devs cause this, or having third-party stuff causes train sim to be unstable. It doesn't. That is a utter myth. But having too much of certain things installed, people have had issues that way. There's just so many variants that cause it, but for me, this build has been very, very stable. If you remember my last reinstall, I had big issues, and my out-of-memory errors were being caused by a sound issue, which I managed to sort. Don't ask me how, trial and error, but I did get it sorted. But that still came up as out-of-memory, and that was actually a audio issue. So it's not that simple. But this seems to be incredibly stable, even on things that used to be slightly less stable. I mean, I think I've had one or two out-of-memory errors since 2021. And I think I've probably paid a few hundred hours since it's been out. Maybe not that much. Average about, probably not far off, average about 50 hours a week, so some weeks it'll be way more. The last 2 weeks it's been way less, but Steam's average is about, oh no, it's 50 hours every 2 weeks, I think that averaged out the last time I looked at it. So yeah, 25 hours a week, call it. And what have we had it now? 4 weeks. It was the 20th, wasn't it? Was it 20th? About then, anyway. And yeah, so near enough a month on, core update-wise, buzzing. It's actually a massive, great relief, and should be for all of you that are into TS Classic, because it does show that whatever they did has fixed something. And tile loading stutters are also less as well. I'm noticing the way it's handling data seems to be better, which is great. So do let me know in the comments below if you are finding that as well, or if you're finding the opposite. Instead of just going, mine's still broken, try and let me know what it is that it's doing that's broken. I'm not saying I'll be able to get on the comments and help you with it, but it'll give me an idea of what's happening. I can talk about it more in videos further on or anything like that. I've got a new how-to series coming up as well. Need to update some of my videos that are a little bit outdated now. I don't know. Not gonna lie, this is just a lovely basic run, this. Sometimes it's just what you need. I'm just waiting on something being sent to me to get another video done, so I was like, I want a scenario that I can just sort of sit, chill with, you guys can sort of chill with, and we can talk about some bits about TS core updates and things like that. Perfect scenario for it. It's not going to be that long either. I think 35 minutes was its estimated time. Yeah, probably about that. I think we can all get a bit caught up in scenarios sometimes. Sometimes we think scenarios need to be wrong line working, degraded working conditions, so signalling issues, that sort of thing. Yes, they're great, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong, but sometimes just a nice run in some decent stock, A to B, and not having to worry too much and just enjoying the scenery, enjoying the sounds. Simple things for simple people sometimes. And it's a pleasure going back over old routes. I mean, you know I'm all biased towards the West Coast Main Line stuff anyway. Even though the East Coast Main Line is my favourite route. Not in TS, but in real life. It's just a bit of nostalgia for me, to be honest with you. Now we're talking 13 years. 13 years, this game. Simulator. Call it what you want. 13 years old from its first incarnation as Rail Simulator. It went Rail Simulator, then Railworks, then Railworks 2, and it was Train Sim 2012, was it? I've got a video of Train Sim histories coming up soon anyway, so you'll see that. We go through it all. So I still find it madness that people are going out, and there are people that I suppose are a bit like me and that just play basically Train Simulator. Although I was sort of telling this on stream the other day, most of the games I play are ancient. They're just old school games. I mean, if I'm not doing this, I'm playing a quick game of Red Alert, like the modded version of Command & Conquer Red Alert, or if I'm waiting for something, I might have a open TDD Transport Tycoon in the background going on. Don't get me wrong, I've tried things at Transport Fever 2 and things like that, but I just don't have the time to sit and do that anymore. So just little quick sort of isometric games like that still just tickle me. Don't get me wrong, if I had more time, I'd be doing a lot more Flight Sim, I'd be doing a lot more Elite Dangerous, I'd be looking at sort of some of the newer games that are out and about at the minute. But we sort of still strive to have like top-end cards and as fast a processor and as much RAM as we can, because Train Sim still relies so badly optimised, the more you can throw it, the better. Oh, God. Eyes on the prize, Al. Eyes on the prize. So it's kind of crazy. So it's when DTG do like core updates like this that just work. It pleases me. It pleases me greatly, because a lot of the way things are done in Train Sim nowadays is so old and clunky that it's expensive to have routes done, to have models built. Nowadays you can have two monitors. You can have it being modelled in one side and looking like it's in game on the other side. With Train Sim you can't do that. You have to build the model, export it, sort it all out, put it into the game, load up Train Sim, go into the editor, place it, come back out, change it, do the same thing all over again. So things take a lot longer than they should do in this day and age. And find people that can still do the code and things like that and still know how Train Sim works. It's all right being a competent modeller, but to be able to model and texture and get the best out of the Train Sim engine is a skill set. It's not something you can just pick up. It would take a long while to sit down and do it. You'd be spending a good long while making sure you keep your verts and your polys down, making sure that your textures, the way you're using different layers of things and all sorts of stuff. It makes TS expensive to develop for, but it also, the rewards you can get from it still are fantastic for a 13-year-old game. We've got the AP317 hopefully out today or tomorrow. I said this in my last videos. It's the 15th of October today. And I haven't looked. I saw the pictures of the cab come up on Facebook, and I didn't expand them or anything because I don't want to ruin my first look. But from what I saw straight away, I was at the 205. Some of the techniques in the cabs and things, beautiful. And it's a 13-year-old game. Simulator game, you call it what you want. People will moan if I call it a simulator, and people will moan if I call it a game. So I'm calling it both. I prefer it as a simulator. I feel it's more of a simulator than a game. Way, Synthorn time. So yeah, the other good thing is the future's bright. There have been so many releases in the last couple of months for Train Sim Classic, it's unreal. And I know what's coming up for a lot of other things as well. It's not slowing down. If anything, the pace has picked up. And that for me speaks volumes. And that's not just ATS that have still got loads of stuff to do. That is, I know a good few other developers have got a lot of projects coming out that are really, really good. And you compare that to things like TSW and TSW2, there's some good stuff coming out for that as well. And I think there is a position where both sims can coexist. I don't see that as an issue. Especially when DTG are still willing to do core updates and things like that, like they've done with this. It's fine. Those that want TSW can have TSW, and those that still want TS Classic can have TS Classic, and those that want both, have your cake and eat it. Going down to 15 just after that, so I'll put a slow brake on. I quite often think that sometimes drivers give you a little nudge of the brake quite a distance before the actual stopping point, just to remind you you're going to be getting off soon. It's weird. It's weird. I always thought it was like some sort of speed board on the between Cambridge and Ely, but it isn't. But there seems to be this point that drivers tend to just shut off power, and you can feel it, and you notice it's like their coasting point, really. And it's that makes me go, nearly there. If I've got headphones in or I'm watching something on my phone, don't even have to look out the window. I'll know when we get to this point where the power goes off and doesn't come back on, that it's time for me to get up before the brakes even kicked in. And I know that's kind of standard practice, but it's just one of those things that I'd never really thought about until I noticed it. That it isn't the brakes coming on that tells you when I'm stopping. It's just the power coming off, and this sort of, probably about a minute of coasting. Steamtown at Carnforth, isn't it? This could actually make quite a nice screeny shot, if I'm honest. If I didn't have that Skydome issue. Loving the AI over there, the static stuff over in Steamtown there, that's cool. Some jerky track here though. I think Steamtown's a weird name for it. Makes me think like something out of Americanized Thomas the Tank Engine. Shiny Town. Let's go to Steamtown, Thomas. It wasn't Shiny Town, was it Shiny Time? Was that abomination of a film? ever stopped at Carnforth before in real life? Well, I think I've just passed through it. Yeah, I don't think I've even done a service where it stopped. Saying that though, my brain is mush today. Don't know why. Absolute mush. So I may have done it and just completely not remembering it. There we go. Let's get my doors open. I don't know if I meant to be fair, but I am doing put my doors open for the fun of it. Alright, and guys, as I said, lovely little run, just a general chit chat while I was waiting for some other bits and pieces to do. Do let me know your answers to what I was talking about in the video though, in the comments. It'd be good to hear them. Well done, driver. That's you for now. For now, Leeds driver will take over. So, once again, thanks very much for watching. Please feel free to like, share and subscribe. Heading over to alanthomsonsim.com for all your latest and greatest train sim needs. Head over to Twitch on a Sunday and Wednesday from 7 PM for a more adult pub-style chat about trains. And also head over to the Facebook group to keep up to date with what's going on and the ins and outs of the simulation world and the real world and with ATS as well. So once again, guys, thanks ever so much. Catch you next time.